Good morning students. Welcome back to online class. Today I am going to start from the history part. From the history part, which lesson you know? Unit 3. Yes, Unit 3, World War II. World War II. Yes. So first of all, we can understand about the learning objectives. What are the things are given in your book? You can check it. Page number 27. Page number 27, you can check it, children. To acquaint ourselves about the political and economic developments. Okay, so regarding the political and economic developments after the World War I and II, we are going to learn from this lesson. Okay, then second thing, we are going to understand about the course of the war. Yes, so when the war was going on, what are the things happened in the battlefield as well as in the nations? What are the things happened? That one we are going to learn. Yes, then third point, effects of the World War II. Okay, effects of the World War, that is results of the World War II. Yes, then fourth one, which one we are going to learn in the sense Holocaust. Okay, Holocaust in the sense genocide of Jews, killing of Jews. So that is the thing only we are going to learn from this lesson. Then last one, international organizations. After the First World War I, League of Nations was established. After the Second World War, after the completion of the Second World War, United Nations organizations was established in the world. Okay, so these are the things only we are going to learn from this lesson. Okay, children? Yes? It's very, very easy, children. It's easily you can understand. Okay, so in the introduction para, yes, in the introduction para, what are the things are given in the sense? The first half of the 20th century, okay, witnessed two wars. Yes, what are the wars in the sense? First World War and Second World War. First World War, which year it was occurred in the sense? 1914 to 1918. First World War was there. Okay, after the completion of the World War, First World War, they were set up that League of Nations in the year 1920. Moreover, 1919, they were signed one treaty. Okay, that treaty name, Treaty of Versailles. It was a humiliating treaty of Germany. Okay. So likewise, in the Second World War, at the end of the Second World War, Treaty of Paris was signed. Yes, in the year 1945. 1945. Okay, while the world at large had experienced many wars, they were in the world, otherwise the world experienced many wars. But these two wars only referred as a world war. Okay, these two wars only referred as a world war. Why? What is the reason? In the sense, because it extended the two wars also, First World War as well as Second World War also extended the areas of the conflict, extended the vast areas. It extended, yes, it spreaded, yes, in the vast areas. The next one, that very high death toll of civilians as well as the armed compartments. Armed compartments in the sense, compartment in the sense nation, armed nation. Okay, civilians also suffered, nations also suffered because of the two world wars. Okay, here high death toll of civilians like that it is given now. You learned already in under the first lesson. Yes, first lesson regarding the First World War. When we learned about that 8 million people, they were lost their lives. 8 million people died during the time of the First World War. So the high death toll of civilians as well as the nations also suffered a lot. Yes, so both wars in the sense First World War as well as Second World War were fought on the several fronts of, several areas across Europe, Asia as well as Africa. So that's what they are telling these wars as a world wars. Okay, so it extended its areas. Okay, it spreaded in many areas, many continents. Okay, Europe, Asia as well as Africa. Okay, children. Yes. The next what is given in the sense under the introduction para, one more para is there. In both wars, in both wars in the sense First World War and Second World War, the combined forces of Great Britain, France, Russia and the United States of America fought against alliance led by Germany. Okay, led by Germany. In the First World War, when I was teaching, I told under the leadership of Germany, what are the countries are there? Austria-Hungary. Yes, Austria-Hungary and Germany was there. Yes, now Second World War time also the same thing only. Under the leadership of Germany, Austria-Hungary, yes, Romania, Bulgaria, yes, those countries alone as well as Japan also joined this time. Okay, Japan also joined, Italy as well as Japan also joined under the leadership of Germany. Yes, so Axis power, Axis power, they are called as Axis power. Allied, who are the allies? Who are they in the sense? Great Britain, okay, France, Russia, and the United States of America, and many countries. Okay, so that's the thing, children. Okay, this time Japan, was joined under the leadership of Germany. Okay, yes, under the heading of 3.1. Yes, what are the things are there in the sense? Causes alone I am going to teach today. Causes alone it is given. 3.1 alone. Okay, causes, it's very, very interesting, children. Okay, causes for the Second World War. What are the causes are there in the sense? Devastation. Yes, what is meant by devastation in the sense? Destruction. Totally distracted, destroyed. Yes, alivai tandadu. That is the mean. Okay, the First World War, it caused distraction. Okay, was of such magnitude. What is meant by magnitude? It was in great size that it was referred to as a Great War. That's what World War considered as the Great War, or the both wars are considered as the Great War. Otherwise, the war to end all the wars. Okay, there's two wars. Especially the Second World War end all the wars. Okay, so that's the thing. Then the belligerent nations. What is meant by belligerent in the sense? The enemy country. Belligerent, what is the meaning? The enemy country. Okay, enemy country. That's the thing, children. Yes. So enemy country, especially the allies. Okay, especially the allies. The allies had no desire for a second prolonged conflict. What is meant by second prolonged in the sense? Prolonged, what is the meaning? Extent. Okay. Prolonged, what is the meaning? Extent. Okay, they have no idea. They have no, who has no idea? Allies. Okay, Britain, France, United States of America, they had no idea, no desire for a second prolonged conflict. Prolonged in the sense extended conflict. And this was the main driving force, because these people, these allies, allies countries, Britain, France, United States of America, those people, they were followed a policy of isolationist as well as non-intervention policy. They did not interfere. After the completion of the First World War, they were established League of Nations. After that, they did not mind anyone. Okay, they did not mind anyone. Moreover, they were thought, none of our business, why should we interfere in others' affairs? Like that, they were thought. So this was the main driving force behind the actions after the end of the World War I. So the immediate and primary cause of the World War II was the aggressive military offensive undertaken by resurgent Germany. Yes, what is meant by resurgent? Reviving in the sense again it came back. Yes, from its defeat. Yes, from its defeat, it came back, Germany. So resurgent Germany, reviving Germany, and fast developing Japan. Okay, fast developing Japan. So the two countries were responsible for the Second World War. So the immediate and primary cause of the World War II was the aggressive activities, otherwise aggressive military offensive undertaken by the reviving Germany. Reviving in the sense resurgent. Yes, meendum puttuir petra. Yes, likewise also we can tell. Okay, resurgent, otherwise reviving Germany and fast developing Japan. Okay, so the next what is given, under the heading of, these are the causes I am going to tell children. Okay, Germany and Treaty of Versailles. You know very well in the first lesson when I was teaching itself, I told after the completion of the First World War, in the year 1918 it was ended. So the treaty at the end of the war, they were signed the Treaty of Versailles. Treaty of Versailles. You can check it check your book, children, page number 27. You can check it. Treaty of Versailles was signed, yes, in the year June 1919. Among these, many provisions are there. In the first lesson, as we learned, is it nearly 9 or 10 provisions are there? Many provisions are there. Okay, it's, 3 in particular caused great resentment. Resentment in the sense dissatisfied among the Germans. The Germans, totally disliked the Treaty of Versailles, especially the 3 points, the 3, classes. Okay, so what are they? First one, Germany was forced to give up the territories. Okay, Germany has to given its territories to the West northeast of the German border to the Allies. Okay, so that was one of the provision of the Treaty of Versailles. Second one, Germany had to disarm and it was allowed to retain only a very restricted armed force. What is given in the sense, German army, reduced. German army, the size, totally it was reduced like that we learned. 1 lakh men only should be there. Okay, 1 lakh men only should be there like that we learned. Is it 1 lakh only, 1 lakh people only, they should be there in the German army. So this was the reason for the Second World War. Okay, the next what is given in the sense, war reparations. Okay, war reparations they have to pay. Yes, after the completion of war reparation in the sense, what is the meaning? War indemnity. After the completion of the war, the defeated nations has to pay some amount to the victorious nations. That is the war reparations. Okay, war reparations, they have to pay more. Okay, Germany was expected to pay for the military as well as civilian cost of the war to the allied nations. So these 3 points of the Treaty of Versailles was responsible for the outbreak of the Second World War. Okay, Second World War. So the German people totally they were disliked, dissatisfied, resented. Okay, resentment among the Germans like that they are telling. The first point what I told. Germany was forced to give up the territories to the West. German territories was shattered. Okay, shattered. Then second one, Germany had to disarm. Disarm in the sense they have to reduce their army. Okay, they have to reduce their army. Okay, so German army was reduced into 1 lakh men only how to stay in their army. So that's a thing. Then third one, war reparations. They have to pay much war reparations to the whom? Allied forces. So these 3 points were responsible for the outbreak of the Second World War. Okay, yes. The next what is given? Yes, next what is given in the sense, failure of the League of Nations. Failure of the League of Nations. You know very well, children, after the completion of the First World War. Okay, so they were planned to establish international organizations. Okay, as per that, League of Nations was established in the year 1920. Yes, in the year 1920, it was established. Okay, it was established January 20, 1920. January 20, 1920. So that was a failure one. Why? What is the reason? Okay, so what was the reason in the sense that treaty also set up, which treaty? Treaty of Versailles also set up the League of Nations on the initiative. So who was responsible for the making of League of Nations? This League of Nations, yes, the American president, yes, Woodrow Wilson. Yes, American president Woodrow Wilson was responsible for the formation of the League of Nations. Okay, the league, what the other countries expected at that time in the sense of when the formation of the League of Nations, the European countries expected, yes, no one need to interfere in others' affairs. Okay, so if anything happen in the sense the league at once, it will be solve the problem. Okay, solve the problem. It will be acted as a mediator like that they were expected. Okay, so the league was expected to mediate between the countries and take action against countries which indulged in the sense involved. If any country involved in the military aggression, at once, League of Nations will solve that. It will interfere in that matter like that and all they were thought. But, condition totally changed. Yes, what was the condition? The popular mood favored the traditional isolationist approach. Okay, the isolationist approach in the sense that many countries, including the United States of America, they were followed the policy of isolation. Isolation, what is the meaning? They did their work. Okay, so they did not interfere in others' affairs. Okay, so that's the thing. And therefore, the United States did not become a member of the League also. Okay, it was not a member like that we learned already in that first lesson. Is it? So the other allied nations who are there in the sense of Britain, France, those countries, they were followed the policy of non-intervention. They were followed the policy of non-intervention attitude, and in consequence, a result. Yes, what was the result in the sense the league remained an ineffectual international body. It was an ineffectual. Yes, it couldn't, play the important role. It couldn't function even without the help of the allies. So that's what, they are telling. The league remained the league remained an ineffectual international body. Yes, so these are the things are given under the failure of the League of Nations. Okay, so this also one of the reason for the Second World War. Okay, so this was one of the reason for the outbreak of the Second World War. Okay, the first para, what I told in the sense that the three points, okay, the 3 points of the Treaty of Versailles was responsible for the outbreak of the Second World War, like that I said. Is it, children? Yes. Then now I am telling the failure, the League of Nations, okay, the policies of League of Nations as well as the Allied Powers policy also was one of the reason for the outbreak of the Second World War. Okay, yes. The next, what is given in the sense, post-war crisis and Germany. Post-war, pre-war in the sense, is it a pre-war? What is the meaning? Before the war. Yes, post-war, what is the meaning, children? Yes, after the war. After the war, what are the things are there around in the world? Okay, as well as in Germany. Okay, so everything we learned in the first lesson itself, children. As I mentioned about 3 classes, 3 points I told, 3 points only responsible, 3 points of the Treaty of Versailles was responsible for the outbreak of the Second World War, like that. Is it especially, yes, what was the main point in the sense, that is the war reparation, penal reparations caused great discontent in Germany. Discontent in the sense, dissatisfied, adirptiyai thandadu. Yes, they were disliked. Yes, that's the thing. The war reparations was one of the reason for the outbreak of the Second World War. War reparation, where it is given in the sense, in the Treaty of Versailles. Okay, in the Treaty of Versailles, they were forced Germany to pay the war reparations. Okay, the problems which many countries faced in the post-World War I, decades. What is that in the sense? Decades in the sense 10 years. After the completion of that, 1918 it was over. Nearly 10 years after, yes, 28. Okay, so that time, world was suffered by the economic depression. You know very well, when I was teaching the second lesson, I told the United States of America suffered a lot. Yes, because of the great economic depression in the year 1929, excluding USSR. Yes, excluding, not including, excluding USSR. All the countries were suffered because of the great economic depression. Okay, children. So, here it is given. See, that time, within 10 years, okay, after the completion of the World War I, yes, 1918, it was over. Okay, so within 10 years, 1928 to 29 time and all, the world, extreme right-wing dictatorship was emerged. Dictatorship was emerged. The people were they were welcomed. The people were welcomed to the dictatorship. Yes, in Italy, yes, Mussolini, Benito, Amilcar, Andrea Mussolini emerged. Okay, in Germany, Adolf Hitler was emerged. In Spain, Franco was emerged. Okay, so those people, they were the dictators. They were the dictators, not the monarchical form of government, not the parliamentary form of government. They were the dictators. What they are telling, that only people has to accept. Okay, so that's a thing. Okay, so post-war crisis and Germany, first para alone over, children. The next, what is given? Yes, next what is given in the sense, this personality, just before I told, Mussolini, yes, Benito, Amilcar, Andrea Mussolini, this personality, you can check it. The next personality, Adolf Hitler. Yes, Adolf Hitler. This, Adolf Hitler, he was the leader of Germany during the time of Second World War. Yes, Adolf Hitler, you can check it, children. Yes. The next personality, Franco. Yes, Francisco Franco. Yes, so he was the leader of Spain during the time of the Second World War. Yes, so they were the dictators, like that I said just before. Okay, children. Yes. The next para, what is given in the sense, Germany. Yes, Germany experienced both high unemployment problem as well as severe inflation. Yes, severe inflation. What unemployment, you know the meaning. Yes, severe inflation, what is the meaning in the sense, reduced, okay, the value of money, reduced, totally it was reduced. Okay, so that is the inflation. Okay, the value of money totally it was reduced. So that's the thing, inflation, and its currency became practically worthless. மதிப்பை இழந்தது German money. Okay, German currency became worthless. That is the thing. There are several pictures of the 1920s. Okay, several pictures are used to come in the newspaper. What picture in the sense of when ordinary people had to carry money in wheelbarrows. Wheelbarrows in the sense the name of the vehicle. Okay, to buy bread. Yes, in order to buy bread, those people, Germans, they were carried a lot of amount because of the inflation. Inflation in the sense the value of money totally it was reduced. That's the thing. This was blamed on the war reparations. The Germans, how they were felt in the sense, how they were blamed. The war reparations was responsible for this inflation, like that they were blamed, which Germany was forced to pay. Though in the final analysis, finally what they did in the sense, they were conducted the meetings, negotiations, like that one word is there now, negotiation in the sense they were conducted the peace talk, they were conducted the meeting. In that meeting, little amount, they were reduced. War reparation, from the war reparation, they were reduced, moderated, like that it is given in your book, children. Little amount was reduced. Okay, so that's the thing. The next, what is there in the sense, what is given, that, the next, rise of Hitler. Yes, rise of Hitler. Under this para, what are the things are there in the sense, Adolf Hitler, yes, he emerged, he became the leader of Germany in the year 1933. Okay, 1933. Till 1945, he was the leader of Germany. Yes, Germany president, as well as he acted as a chancellor of Germany. Okay, yes. The rise of Hitler para, Adolf Hitler was able to exploit. Yes, Adolf Hitler was able to exploit the general discontent. Okay, so by using his speech, Adolf Hitler, what he did, he exploited the general discontent. Okay, totally the general discontent in the sense of dissatisfaction. Okay, adirpti. Okay, yes, discontent among the Germans. Yes, this personality, Hitler, is with his oratorial skills. Okay, great orator. Yes, he was a great speaker. He was able to sway. Sway, what is the meaning? Control. Yes, sway, what is the meaning, children? Control. He controlled the people by his impassioned speeches. Impassioned speeches. Yes, by his speeches, he controlled the people. Yes, he promised, return to the glorious military past of Germany. Okay, so what he promised with the Germans? Yes, he promised to the glorious, I will bring back that's a promise of Hitler with the Germans. Okay, I will bring back the glorious military past of Germany. Yes, he founded the National Socialist Party, which was known as Nazi Party. Okay, the fundamental platform on which Hitler built his support was the notion of racial superiority. What does mean by notion? Belief. Okay, Hitler belief. What was the belief of Hitler? German race only topmost race. They are pure race. Okay, they were considered as an Aryan race and a deep-seated hatred of the Jews. Hitler hated the Jews. At the same time, he prized the Germans race. They were the pure race. They were the Aryan race. Like that, he expressed. Okay, so that's a thing. Hitler, what he did in the Hitler came to power. Yes, when did he came to power in the sense? Just before I said, children, 1933. Yes, 1933 he came into power and ruled Germany till 1945. Okay, so these are the things are there. The next, what is given, under the heading of rise of Hitler, the second para. In direct contravention. Yes, contravention, what is the meaning? Opposition. Directly, Hitler started to oppose the Treaty of Versailles. Okay, classes in the sense, points, provisions. Okay, that's a thing. Okay, in direct contravention. Contravention in the sense, opposition. Okay, directly Hitler started to oppose the Treaty of Versailles. Hitler began to rearm Germany. Students, very, very interesting, children. Okay, here you have to listen. Hitler began in the sense, started to rearm. Okay, rearm, what is the meaning? So, as per the provisions of the Treaty of Versailles, what they told in the sense, German army was reduced. German army was reduced, like that they said. But here he started to rearm, reconstruct the German army. Yes, the recruitment in the sense soldiers, the number of soldiers were appointed in the armed forces, and the manufacture of armaments in the sense, what is that? Weapons and machinery for the army, navy and air force, with large amounts of government, spending much more amount is much more money for the for the manufacturing of armaments, weapons and machines for the army, navy and air force with a large amount. Okay, so it resulted, economic revival. Economically they were little, development was there and solved the problem of unemployment in Germany. So Hitler, such a way, through this way, Hitler solved the unemployment problem in Germany. Okay, yes. Then next, what is that in the sense, under the same heading, Adolf Hitler's heading, okay, page number 28, you can check it. Italy, that time Italy invaded Ethiopia. Okay, Italy invaded Ethiopia. Okay, here it is given, children. Italy's break with Britain and France in wake of Mussolini. When did he break the relationship with Britain as well as France in the sense Mussolini? He invaded Ethiopia. Okay, Ethiopia. And better relationship. So that time onwards, the better relationship started in between Germany and Italy. Okay, Germany and Italy. At the same time, it break the relationship between the Britain and France. In 1936, before Germany invaded the Rhineland. Before Germany invaded the Rhineland. Okay. So, which was the Rhineland in the sense, under the provisions of the Treaty of Versailles, it is given clearly, okay, that Rhineland was considered as the demilitarized zone, okay, which was supposed to be a demilitarized zone, it is given. Okay, so, Germany had a relationship with Italy like that. I said, no, that's what Rome-Berlin axis came into existence. Later, Japan also joined this alliance. So it became Rome-Berlin-Tokyo axis. Why Rome-Berlin-Tokyo and Tokyo axis? In the sense, Italy's capital Rome. Okay, German's capital Berlin. Japan capital Tokyo. So these three countries, they were formed an alliance. Okay, they were formed an alliance. So that's what they are telling, Rome-Berlin-Tokyo axis. Okay, in the year 1938, Hitler, what he did in the sense, he invaded Austria and Czechoslovakia. Austria, it was under the control of Allies that time. Okay, so he invaded Austria and Czechoslovakia. So that time, Sudetenland, it's one of the part of the Czechoslovakia. Yes, one part of the Czechoslovakia. It was a Sudetenland, was a German-speaking people. Okay, Sudetenland people, they were speaking in German. Okay, speaking German language. So that's what, Hitler, what he claimed in the sense, German-speaking people, everyone, should be under my nation. Under Germany only they should be there. Like that, he argued, he claimed. Okay, who? Hitler. Okay, so that's a thing, children. Here you can check it. 1938, Hitler invaded Austria and Czechoslovakia. In Czechoslovakia, one place was there, namely Sudetenland. In Sudetenland, German-speaking people, many are there. Okay, so that's what, Hitler, what he claimed in the sense, what he argued. German-speaking people, everyone should be under my nation, like that, he argued. Okay, so these are the things are given under the rise of Hitler. The next, these are the, causes for the Second World War. Okay, these are the causes, these are the actions of Hitler. Okay, activities of Hitler was responsible for the outbreak of the Second World War. Yes. The next, what is given in the sense, allies and non-intervention. Allied powers in the sense, I told Britain, France, United States of America, and many countries, they were followed the policy of non-intervention. Okay, isolationist policy of isolation. They did not interfere in any other activities. So that's what this activities of allies as well as the policy of non-intervention, okay, were responsible for the outbreak of the Second World War. Okay, so that's the thing. The next, they were also acts of aggression by Italy and Japan. So Italy invaded Ethiopia. Yes, Italy invaded Ethiopia. Yes, in the year 1935. One word answer. One word answer, children. Italy invaded Ethiopia and Albania in the year 1939. Okay, so Italy invaded Ethiopia in the year 1935 and Albania in the year 1939. Yes, Ethiopia leader who in the sense that time Haile Selassie. Okay, Emperor Haile Selassie, he appealed. Okay, he asked with the League of Nations, but he did not get any help from the League of Nations. See, Haile Selassie of Ethiopia appealed in the sense he asked with the League of Nations, but the League, did not do any help. At the same time, in the eastern part, Japan, pursuing its policy. Yes, what? Pursuing in the sense following. Okay, pursuing in the sense following. Which policy? Military expansion. Okay, Japan's policy of military expansion. Yes, he increased the weapons rate. In the year 1931, Japan captured Manchuria. And in the year 1937, it invaded China as well as it seized in the sense captured Beijing. Okay, Chinese capital, Beijing. All these were ignored. They did not mind even. Who did not mind? Allies did not mind even. Okay, and the League of Nations also was unable to take any action. So without the help of the allied powers, it couldn't do anything. So this was the, reason. This was one of the reason for the outbreak of the Second World War. Okay, so all these were ignored by the allies and the League of Nations also was unable. Yes, they couldn't take any actions without the help of the allies. Okay, so Haile Selassie, that man, that emperor's picture we can see. Okay, this personality, Haile Selassie, he was the emperor of Ethiopia. Yes, Ethiopia, it was captured by Italy in the year 1935, like that I said, no. So at that time, this person only appealed to the League of Nations, but he did not get any help from the League of Nations. Okay, so the next, what is there in the sense, children? In spite of all these manifestations, what is mean by manifestation? Actions or events. Okay, manifestation in the sense, manifestation, otherwise actions of military activity by Germany, Italy and Japan, Britain and France continued to be non-interventionist. What is the meaning in the sense? Britain and France, even though by checking these activities, Britain and France, they were followed the policy of non-intervention. Okay, the mood in Britain was not in favor of starting another war. Britain, what it thought in the sense, why should we start another war? Yes, already First World War, we from the First World War we learned many lessons. Is it, children? So likewise, so prime ministers, okay, Britain Prime Minister Baldwin and Chamberlain did not feel justified in intervening in a region which was not officially in their sphere of interest. What is the meaning in the sense? It's none of our business, like that they were thought. Okay, whoever Britain Prime Ministers Baldwin as well as Chamberlain. Okay, the United States of America, totally they were away. Okay, they were away from this, situation. Okay, because, they were suffered because of the great economic depression. In order to bring back the economy of America, they were worked. Okay, so that's what, the United States of America, they did not mind anything. Okay, so indifferent to the outside world, they did not mind. They were worked for the improval of, otherwise the development of economy, their economy. That's the thing, children. The next, what is given, this person only, Baldwin. Okay, Stanley Baldwin. Yes, he was the Prime Minister of Britain. Yes, he was the Prime Minister of Britain. Then likewise, this person, Neville Chamberlain, he was the Prime Minister of, which country? Yes, Britain. Okay, so these persons, they never mind the activities of Japan, Italy, as well as Germany. Okay, The next what is given, that Munich Pact, the last para, Munich Pact. Under the Munich Pact, what are the things are given? Okay, so here it is given a further factor was that the Western powers and the Soviet Union distrusted each other. Okay, Russia as well as the Western powers in the sense, the Allied powers. Okay, the Allied powers, they have no, trust with each other. They did not believe with each other. That's a mean. Okay, they did not believe with each other. Soviet Union distrusted each other. In the year 1938, Prime Minister Chamberlain, okay, just before I showed the picture, Neville Chamberlain, he concluded that pact, yes, which was known as Munich Pact, because at Munich it was signed. Okay, that's what Munich, at Munich in the sense, that's a place name. Okay, so Chamberlain concluded the Munich Pact with Germany. It was considered as the shameful acceptance of Germany's invasion of Czechoslovakia to annex the German-speaking people which was located in Sudetenland. Okay, and through this agreement, through this pact, Neville Chamberlain, the Britain Prime Minister, agreed the activities of Germany. Okay, he agreed. That is a shameful acceptance, like that they are telling in the history of the world. Okay, so in 1939, what he accepted? German can invade Czechoslovakia. Yes, so especially the Sudetenland, he can annex, otherwise he can otherwise he can join the Sudetenland people with Germany. Yes, he accepted. So in the year 1939, Soviet Union, that is Russia, independently concluded a non-aggression pact with Germany. Yes, already, yes, they were signed the treaty. Who were signed? Soviet Union, Russia, was signed the treaty. Yes, what was the name of the treaty? Non-aggression pact. We should not invade others, one another, like that. We learned that they signed. Soviet Union independently concluded a non-aggression pact with Germany. Non-aggression in the sense, we should not, interfere with each other's country. Yes, so that's a thing. Okay. The continued passivity. Yes, continued passivity. What does mean by passivity, children? Yes, under the heading of Munich Pact, you can check it. Page number 30, you can check it, children. Passivity in the sense without response. Okay, so the continued passivity of Allied powers, the reluctance, Thayakam Katinar, okay, what were to start building up their armies, were also, yes, contributory causes of the extended scale of World War II. Okay, who were reluctant to start the next war, another war? Yes, the Allied powers. Yes, the Allied powers continued passivity. There was no response among the Allies, and they were reluctant to start another war. Yes, so that's a thing. So these are the reason for the outbreak of the Second World War. Yes, one more para is there, children. Hitler. Yes, Hitler. Though Hitler gave an assurance in the Munich Pact that Germany, yes, he had given the assurance. Okay, yes, Urudi Alitar, that's a thing, assurance. Okay, so he had given the assurance in that Munich Pact that Germany would not attack any other country. Okay, so Germany would not attack any other country, like that he assured, he gave the promise, he promised to the Allies. But this was broken immediately. Yes, broken immediately in the sense Hitler violated, yes, Mirinar. Yes, that's a thing. Hitler violated the, that Munich Pact in the year 1939. He invaded Czechoslovakia. Yes, he invaded Czechoslovakia. Then Poland was attacked next, he attacked Poland, and it was the final act which resulted in the declaration of the war by Britain and France against Germany. Yes, in Britain, Prime Minister Chamberlain resigned. Okay, Prime Minister, that Chamberlain was resigned in the year 1940, and Winston Churchill, he came into power. Yes, he already, warned. Yes, he gave the warning about the Hitler and his military ambitions. Yes, he became the Prime Minister of England. Yes, Winston Churchill. Yes, Winston Churchill. Yes, after the minister, that Prime Minister Chamberlain, Neville Chamberlain, he came into power. He already, he gave the warning about Hitler and his military ambitions, he became the Prime Minister. Okay, the next class we are going to check about the course of the war. Yes, before that, after the completion of this one, I am going to show one video about the Munich Pact. Okay, children. Yes, need not mark any question answers today. Okay. Yes, you have to mark. You marked that civics part lesson. Yes, civics part lesson 4 you can start to learn. Okay, lesson 3 completed. Completed in the sense lesson 4 you can start learning. Lesson 4 has consisted many 2 marks are there. Fill in the blanks, choose the best answer, and then assertion answer as well as the 2 marks. Yes, so these are the things only. Next week homework. Okay, you can learn and learn as well as write 2 marks alone in the long size note. Okay, yes, reopening time, we will check that. Okay, children, thank you.
In the early morning hours of September 30th, 1938, the leaders of Germany, Italy, France, and Great Britain signed the Munich Agreement, allowing Nazi Germany to annex a big slice of Czechoslovakia. While some believed that satisfying Germany's demands would preserve the peace in Europe, the agreement did nothing to avert World War II, which started just 11 months later. When Adolf Hitler rose to power in Germany in 1933, he began realizing his goal to bring all ethnic Germans living in neighboring countries under German rule. After annexing Austria in 1938, he turned his attention to the border region of Czechoslovakia, called the Sudetenland, where some 3 million ethnic Germans lived. At that time, Czechoslovakia was dealing with its own internal tensions, which turned even more heated after a local pro-Nazi party requested that the Sudetenland break off and join Germany. In an attempt to avert war, Great Britain and France advised Czechoslovakia to accede to Hitler's demands, hoping that giving him the Sudetenland would satisfy his claims. As the pressure on solving the crisis rose, the Czechoslovak cabinet decided to respond by issuing a decree of general mobilization in September 1938 to prove the country was able to defend its borders. The appeal was accepted enthusiastically by Czechoslovaks. Within 24 hours, more than 1 million men had joined the army, prepared to fight for their country. A final deal was reached on the night of September 29th and 30th, 1938, when Hitler, Benito Mussolini of Italy, Neville Chamberlain of Great Britain, and Edouard Daladier of France signed the Munich Agreement. Representatives of Czechoslovakia were not invited to the talks, only informed of their outcome after the meeting was over. Czechoslovakia was given 10 days to relinquish about 1/3 of its territory to Germany, including border defenses, weapons, and industrial districts in the area. Given the fact that its army would face a larger military force with no support from Western countries, Czechoslovakia decided to capitulate in order to spare the lives of the thousands of men guarding its borders. Neville Chamberlain returned to Great Britain and announced that war had been averted. He was welcomed by cheering crowds. Troops moved into the Sudetenland and, despite the terms of the agreement, occupied the rest of Czechoslovakia as well a few months later. On September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland, ushering in World War II. The strategy of making concessions to an aggressive power in order to avoid conflict had failed.